Hi, I'm Patrina, and today we are checking out the soon to be demolished Science Centre Singapore. There will be a brand new Science Centre slated to be ready in 2027, so I thought it would be a good idea to capture it as it is. Also, I was probably in primary school the last time I came here, so I just wanted to know what was going on. I will be going to visit more museums in Singapore on this channel, so subscribe if you want to see that. This video will be an entire tour of the Science Centre. It's going to be quite a long video, as you can see. So strap in and check it out. So when I first came, I arrived in the garden area and there's this crazy marble machine. It says touch here and check this out. It's sort of like a marble race. I don't know if you've ever seen the YouTube videos, but like I used to watch them as well, these crazy marble races. Yeah, and this is something you can experience for yourself. And I think this is already setting the tone for the Science Center. It's quite dated, but like I said, it was actually slated to be demolished actually a couple of years ago. And yeah, I think COVID and other things kind of extended it, so it's still here. What's crazy is you can see like a bunch of small children in here in this glass thing, and yeah, maybe that's a metaphor for something. Check this out. Okay, so that was kind of crazy. As you can see, this is supposed to be some sort of AI thing. Apparently, the song is composed out of feedback that people leave the Science Center. So it's some kind of meta thing. As you can see, very sciencey already. AI, cool. That was a crazy noise though. So this is the Kinetic Garden. Apparently, it's open 24 hours a day. And as you can see, it's very kinetic-y, maybe. I mean, the real kinetic things are like two fountains going on. This was kind of wild. It's a watering can, watering some flowers, very cool. And it was a very hot day, I must say. But it does feel like it's gonna rain at any point of time. So if you know Singapore, it's just really humid. As you can see, there's another fountain thing. Again, I totally remember this place from my youth, and this I do remember some of these things were already here. This thing is supposed to be optical illusion. You're supposed to look through it and you're supposed to see like the raindrops or something, but yeah, you can see me, hello. And yeah, it did not work for me. I'm not sure if I was doing it wrong, but it is kind of hard to do things while you're holding a camera. So check that out. Very cool. Very cool. I mean, I feel kind of random coming here because as you'll see later on, it's full of kids and families. So it's definitely more aimed towards children. But yeah, I mean, there was a huge nostalgic factor coming here. There was giant seal, nothing kinetic about that one. And there's one of these corkscrew things. I wasn't gonna do it, but I'm pretty sure kids enjoy these kind of things, right? A lot of interactive things. So now we're gonna go in and someone's gonna help me buy the tickets. Oh, okay, cool. So just sign up here, is it? Alright. Okay. Yeah, okay. So the cool thing was tickets are free for Singapore citizens on weekdays or off-peak days, and I think it's like $6 on weekends, but you have to check it. What's crazy is this place already looks like an arcade from the 90s. Um, it really has that sort of retro feel, and it was really like a blast from the past. I do actually recall some of these exhibits actually being here when I last came. And when I last came, I was primary six, so about 11 years old. And we came here for like a lecture. I actually won a quiz, and the prize was a tattoo, like one of those kids' fake tattoo things that you could have, you know, put water on, you get temporary tattoo, but it was of DNA, like the double helix thing, and I thought it was the coolest thing. But yeah, like you can see a whole bunch of optical illusions. Honestly, I really loved this as a kid, and I can totally see kids really enjoying this stuff, right? So this was really funny because I think half of this stuff here. Also, cool thing is you can actually rent strollers and wheelchairs for free. But I think the strollers that you saw, that was a price. Okay, here you go. A really crazy hypnotic thing. You're supposed to stare at it and then stare at the wall and then, the whole optical illusion. I did not do that. Also hard to do when you're holding a camera. This is one of those magic eye things that I never really understood how it worked. I mean, I have always tried to get them to work, but it just never worked for me. You see the tilt thing. Yeah, I mean, all your classic kind of optical illusions. Very cool. Check this out. This is a Lego thing. So you're gonna press the button, and maybe you can guess. It's supposed to change into three different items. It's slowly tilting. I guessed a spider. It was gonna change into a spider. It did not change into a spider. Um, but I was kind of close because it actually changes into a butterfly. I don't know. Maybe that's better. Okay, I'm gonna press the button again. It's gonna change into something else. What do you think it's gonna change into? Now, I was kind of confused as to what this last one is. I'm like, is this a dragon? Okay. You know what? When I was in person, it did not really come across as a dragon to me, but now looking at it, it does kind of look like a dragon. So, yeah, I mean, I confirmed, yeah, it says like butterfly dragon and that kind of thing. So, yes, it was a dragon. So this is one of those things where, it looks different where you move the piece. And yeah, I mean, it's really crazy because half of these things were here like, 10, 20 years ago. This is one of those things you can crawl into and look like your head is sticking out of the table, and take a cool picture. But I was not going to crawl around and do that. But I'm sure kids would love it. What does this look like to you? It's two giraffes, right? But when you walk around the corner, you're going to see something different, okay? It's an elephant. Woo! Wow, cool. I mean, it's Cheap Thrills, right? I mean, it was fairly empty. Okay, this is now optical illusion. You're supposed to be vanishing or something. I'm not really sure what's happening here, but you can see me. So now I'm gonna walk into the biggest part of the atrium, the middle of this place, and this was so nostalgic for me because this is exactly like I remember it as a kid. This is like one of those giant Tesla coils that has like they do shows like I think several times a day on the weekends, and there's like a giant like lightning bolt that comes out of it, so it's really impressive. I mean, even as an adult, it's impressive. Okay, I'm gonna press this thing and I'm gonna see what's. Okay, this was cool. I mean, it's basically electricity, and there's like, you know, light not lightning bolt, but like flames. It's crazy. I mean, even as an adult, this is still weirdly impressive. I honestly think this is the same machine that was here 20 years ago. I think it was. And it does actually feel a little bit overwhelming because there are so many parts to this place. Okay, I'm gonna spin this thing. Lots of interactive stuff. I'm gonna spin this thing, and it's supposed to emulate, a wave, kinetic energy, that kind of thing. Woo! Look at that. Okay, this was cool. This was like a icy kind of smoggy thing. I mean, it's hard for me to read these things and film at the same time. So I'm not gonna be able to give you all the details. But you get the idea. I mean, this is really cool. I actually think this place would be really cool to come to if you've been to it as a child, like I have, and to see, how it still is. I'm pointing at it because actually, at least in this area, the signs were in four languages. There was Japanese, English, Chinese, and Malay. So that was interesting. I think most museums in Singapore, it's just in English, right? But I don't know, maybe the sign is from the 90s. I have no idea. So, as you can see, there's quite a few exhibits which surprised me for a place that, is kind of aging. There's still quite a few things going on. I don't know how many of these are like brand new or not, but it was really interesting to see that there's still stuff going on here. So I don't know what this is, but okay, so it's cool also that throughout the place you'll see sensory levels. So if you have any accessibility needs, you can judge what exhibitions you might want to skip or explore. So this was cool. I mean, I was the only one in here, and I think that made it cooler. It was some sort of like underwater kind of city thing, an immersive experience. Yeah, it was really cool just to stand in here by myself. I can imagine people taking Instagram pictures. And it was really interesting to see how few people there was in the science center. But to be fair, it is a Tuesday, and I did come at like 4 o'clock. So the place closes at 5, and I did come quite close to closing time. So this is another area that has lots of exhibits about the environment and energy. And again, a lot of interactive exhibits. So this one's about liquefied natural gas, LNG. I think this is very apt for the energy crisis we're going through. This is in April 2026, so you know what's going on in the world. There's a whole energy fuel shortage thing going on. And I am not sure what half of this is because I have problem reading and filming at the same time, but you can see what it's about. So there was wind turbines apparently, yeah. Solar panels, cool. I think it's cool that they have a lot of exhibits on energy and climate crisis and stuff like that. So that's a very cool skull. There's a giant earth. There's a climate action show. So apparently you can go to that, and every hour they have a 30-minute long show, I think, about climate action. That's the earth. Cool. So there's quite a few things like dialogue with time. I'm not sure what that is because I didn't have time to go see it, but I think a few of these things are like movies that you can watch. Okay, this thing was cool. Honestly, as a kid, I would have loved 90 or 100% of these things. I do think these energy exhibits like this one is brand new. I don't recall seeing this as a kid. Also, in the 90s, people were not that interested in climate change. I mean, it wasn't as mainstream, right? So, do people obsessed with saving water, and then like now, I think people don't talk about that as much. So this is a interesting model that shows the MRT lines throughout time. So this is the 90s, the first line. This was the second line, and then this is in 2010. Okay, it's glitching just like real life. And then the most recent lines, right? All the lines completed. So that's pretty cool. And then these, I just wanted to show that I really like aesthetically how these benches look like. It supposed to, okay, someone spilled something there. Okay, interesting. It's supposed to be like granite and different sort of stones in the earth's crust and things like that. But it still was very aesthetic to me. Yeah, so there are more like short films you can watch and stories about climate change and how it's affected different communities and things like that. And so I think it's really cool because it's giving kids like a hands-on kind of experience and an experiential version of science. Okay, this was cool and I kind of wanted to play with it, but there was another kid there. But it's one of those interactive sand pits that can map typology and something like that using VR. I didn't get to play with it, but it's okay. I think that boy was having more fun. And yeah, I just think, like I said, I think the kids are really having a lot of fun. Again, this is probably not a museum for adults. Okay, so this was an exhibit on fear, and it actually ended up being more of like a haunted house kind of vibe. And it was pretty entertaining because I did not expect for it to take this turn. But honestly, this science center is really big and it does have a lot of exhibits. Honestly, I think you could take 2, 3 hours even in this place. They had some really funny videos playing, talking about fears and things like that. And I mean, honestly, this place was kind of scary because I was by myself. And yeah, I mean, it tells you about fear and different ways people interact with fear. I mean, I am an anxious person and I don't really watch scary movies. But yeah, look at this. This is like a talking moon. So random. I mean, really random. But I mean, really entertaining. I think it's supposed to represent all the different kind of fears you can encounter. So this is a coffin that you can crawl into. Yeah, there you go. And I was not gonna do that again. This was crazy because you're supposed to stick your hand in it and then like something's gonna happen. I did not stick my hand in it. Um, it says tap lightly. I'm not sure what I was supposed to tap, but I'm, I'm not gonna do that. It says spitting spider or something. I'm sure it's not a spider, but I wasn't gonna take my chances. That was not a real insect in there, but I'm sure this would actually freak kids out. I mean, honestly, I'm surprised at how creepy this was because I think kids would freak out at half of this stuff, especially some of the kids here were like really young. So I don't know if this was the right place for small children. Yeah, and here I am, and this is a silent booth, and yeah, I mean, it was just a padded room. So this was kind of crazy because, okay, that's me, hello. This was kind of crazy because there was this thing that looked like an optical illusion, but it looked like it was getting smaller. But it was like the only way out. So I actually went into it, and here I am. And I actually had to crawl on the ground. So you're going to see me struggle a little bit because I am holding a camera. And I am actually on the ground crawling. There you go. Okay. I was a bit like, is this the only way out? And I think it was. So I'm guessing like the parents have to crawl as well. I have no idea. It would be insane if parents didn't bring their kids. So this was crazy because it was like a thing about sleep and you have nightmares and stuff and you're supposed to open these doors. And I mean, honestly, I think this would give like small children nightmares if they're like below 8 years old. This would definitely give them nightmares. Okay, and this was the exit door, I think. Was it? Okay, so yeah, I mean, some sort of Pirates of the Caribbean kind of vibe going on here with the skeleton pirates. Yeah, I mean, if you're a small child, surely there was something here that would freak you out. Here's X-rays and other creepy things. Aliens. I mean, honestly, for a place that is free on weekdays, this place really gave you a lot of bang for your buck. I did see like a lot of school excursions. I mean, I guess that was how I came here as a kid, but yeah, I mean, I also saw like some, secondary school, high school kids here. And yeah, I suppose it is entertaining and it is free. And yeah, you'll see throughout the museum there are a lot of like these kind of computer game kind of things to play. So yeah, I mean, you can easily bring a kid here and spend like 3 hours or something. Check out this giant brain. It's really big brain energy. I mean, I think the extra creepiness to this was like I was just really by myself, and there was like literally no one else in this thing but me. So I don't know, maybe it's because yeah, you have to crawl on the ground and stuff. And okay, you're not gonna hear this here, but there's gonna like as I'm leaving, like there's this crazy thing that blows at me and makes this crazy hissing noise, and that kind of really startled me. So yeah, that was a trip. That was crazy. That was a full-on haunted house. I did not expect that at all. Okay, so now I'm gonna go to another exhibit, and you'll see that in a second. So this one is called Know Your Poo. And I don't know about you, but I was like a weird child that really liked like stinky things like slime, like poop, like eyeballs, and like stuff that gross you out. And yeah, I would have loved this as a 11-year-old. This is definitely a newer exhibit. There's like even a slide you can go on, and like the whole thing is around toilet and poop and fun facts about your digestive system and how poop is made. And yeah, there's a giant toilet roll and poops, different poops. I don't know. I just feel like there's definitely a segment of kids that likes like poop things. I know I did, and this is very entertaining to me. I mean, less now as adult. Now this was weird to me. There's a whole bunch of butts, and butts of all different shapes and sizes, and you're supposed to press them. And when you press them, there's like loads of fart noises. I mean, this would be so funny to like a small child. And you press them, and they make like fart, poopy noises. Yeah. I don't know who decided this was the exhibit theme, but yeah, maybe they polled small children and they realized kids like toilet stuff. I don't know. Toilet humor. So yeah, and you saw like there was some toilet themed chairs. Yeah, so this is cool. So this is the night soil men, and back in the 60s when people still lived in sort of what we call kampongs, villages, and they didn't have like flushing toilets, they would have these men collect basically the poop from the villagers. And you can see a squatting toilet that, some malls still have in Singapore today. That's the more traditional toilet. And then, of course, here you have the Japanese toilet, which is like the Ferrari of toilets. I love going to Japan just for the toilets. It's very cool. And so, yeah, just different examples of toilets, I guess. And yeah, in Singapore, we have a toilet cleanliness index. There's a World Toilet, WTO, World Toilet Organization that started in Singapore. And there's basically this guy that ranks how clean toilets are. I don't know all the details. Okay, and so here, this is a little cafe, but because like I said, I came quite late just before closing time, it was kind of closing. But there is a cafe that was very reasonably priced within the science center itself. But again, like everything does feel like so dated. Check out these red and blue lights. This is definitely giving me, again, arcades or bowling alleys from the 90s. Lots of weird machines and things to check out. Honestly, this place is chock full of all these like sciencey things. I don't know. These are like things that have been here for like the last 40 years, I swear. And then this is okay. This I'm gonna fail at showing you this optical illusion because maybe it just doesn't work in camera. But that's supposed to be like Albert Einstein, and his face is supposed to follow you around, and it worked in person. I just don't think it's translating well on camera at all. And you can see here the crazy thing, this place really was open in 1977. So honestly, it really does feel like that, and I can totally understand why they're gonna reopen a new science center soon. Apparently, it's gonna be designed by Zaha Hadid, who is really well renowned, world renowned architect actually, and I think she also did the Jewel and Interlace and a couple of different icons in Singapore. So whatever it's gonna be, it's definitely gonna be interesting. So yeah, I'm just walking into yet another area, and I mean honestly, this place is really so much bigger than I expected. For somewhere that is gonna close soon-ish, there is still quite a few new exhibits and lots to see. So I'm not really sure what theme this one was. Um, yeah, I think it had something to do with science. I mean, the whole place has to do with science. But yeah, so this one had a lot more like digital kind of things. This one, like you press a button, you speak into it, and it changes your voice. Very entertaining for kids again. And this was pretty cool because this one had like a whole arcade game you could play. I wanted to play this, but you apparently needed two people to play, so I did not. I struggled to play by myself. But yeah, I mean, again, this is really cool because it creates games and stuff that you can play with your parents or other family members or siblings. So I can totally imagine, and I did see like a lot of people bringing their kids and then just leaving them to play with the games. This is actually pretty cool. It's about carnivorous plants, and they talk and they have eyes. I mean, yeah, so these exhibits did seem like much more currently themed. This one was about viruses and the pandemic, going viral. Wow, what a pun. Um, going viral. Um, and yeah, it had a lot of games about the immune system and germs and about isolation during the pandemic. Yeah, the vaccine and things like that. So yeah, I think it's a great way to illustrate to kids in a visual and stimulating way about how these things work. And it allows, parents to discuss this with their kids. So now I'm going to walk into this area that, again, I have no idea what I'm walking into. Honestly, half of this stuff I was just like stumbling into, and it was interesting. I think this is one of, I think it's called a xylotrope. It's like one of these animated things that spin around and, you can see it sort of self animate. So, again, lots of really interesting sciencey things, but very entertaining. There's a laser maze. Again, I think that was gonna be hard to navigate while filming, so I didn't go check that out. But yeah, honestly, I think there was like 30% of things that I didn't actually explore. And this video is already like, I don't know, 40 minutes long, 30 something minutes long. So you can imagine there's just lots. So there's this area called an eco garden, and it's really quite random. It's in the corner. And this was really a walk down memory lane because there are these little badge things that you can earn in primary school here. And I actually remember doing the young zoologist. Yeah, and you had to basically do a whole bunch of activities and then you get a pin. Like this is something outside of your regular schoolwork, and I remember doing that and it felt so cool. I think I was like one of two people in my class who actually did that. This is a dodo. I thought it was going to be a real taxidermy, but it was not. I think it's just like, a replica of a dodo. This was actually cool. This ecosphere was sealed in 1993, and I actually do recall seeing this, although it did look kind of sad. I think the only living thing left was this coral, um, and half the water had evaporated. It is, near the sun, but I don't know, maybe it had too much sun or too little sun, not sure. But these biodomes are hard to maintain. So honestly, this area was kind of random. There was like a couple of tanks, but only one was like completely like full and proper. I did not see this walking in, but there's like a whole tank of hissing cockroaches. And yes, they are alive. Sluggish, but alive. And that's crazy. This one had hermit crabs, but I think they were buried. I do know that hermit crab, like, they molt. And sometimes they bury themselves when they're molting, or maybe they just bury themselves normally. I'm not that sure. This one had stick insects. I think, can you see that one? Yeah. Hello. Hello, stick. Hello, stick friend. Stick. It's a stick. It's a living stick. This one had hamsters, but they were burrowed as well, and I think there's a gerbil in there. Yep, there you see his back. One gerbil, I think. I'm not sure if gerbil are solitary animals, but some hamsters are, so. And then I went up the second floor, and this gives you a really nice overview of the middle atrium, the main area with the giant Tesla coil. Again, this area is just so nostalgic, and I think on weekends they do like a science show with the giant Tesla coil, and you can see that. So probably very exciting. This area had more like bioscience stuff. So there's again a short film that you can watch if you want to check out the show times. It's on that chart. So this was a little bit more like current era science, like engineering. This one talked about reusable rockets. There was a SpaceX model there. I don't know how I feel about SpaceX, but yeah, there's a SpaceX thing there. And yeah, it's about robotics. I think just now you saw like the giant robotic arm and stuff. But yeah, very cool. Again, I feel like I'm really glad that I came, because I don't think a lot of people know that they are going to demolish this place next year or close it down. So it was very cool to be able to capture it. This was another small kind of exhibit. I did not go into the whole thing because, again, they were going to close like in 15 minutes. This was crazy. It's an optical illusion, but you can touch your own hand. This actually looks crazy on film. I mean, it was crazy in person as well. There was like another short thing you could enter. This was actually very cool. I mean, I don't know. At first, when I came in here, I was like a bit like, oh my god, it's like the same things that were here in the 90s, but there is also like a whole bunch of exhibitions that are new. But at the same, on the other hand, like it felt very quaint and very cool, like it was walk down memory lane. And these are totally the things that would have excited me as like a 11, 12-year old. Like a lot of nerdy things, a lot of optical illusions. And I mean, even as an adult now, I would still honestly recommend going, because it has just a lot of entertaining things that you could spend 2, 3 hours in. I spent about an hour there, but honestly, I could have spent a lot more time. And here we have the gift shop again, my favorite place of any museum. And this gift shop is actually one of my favorites so far, because it had, again, I don't know why this really fit into all the things that I liked when I was 12. There are all these science kits, and I remember like doing these science kits when I was a kid, and they had like a lot of slime and weird things that I liked as a 12-year-old. I don't know. I don't know, just that was just me, or if all 12-year-olds like these kind of things. I don't know. Leave a comment if you like this stuff. They had like a sea monkey kind of thing. I remember having sea monkeys multiple times in my life, and they all died at some point, but yeah, I mean, I never neglected it. I always just kept buying them again. They even had the TY Beanie Baby kind of things. And again, this place is just so nostalgic of my childhood. Honestly, I would have wanted like all these things as a kid. all of them, you know. Honestly, I still want some of these stuff as a kid. I mean, as an adult, I still want some of them, like dinosaur eggs, like all kinds of cool slime, and then lasers. Oh my god, just talking about lasers the other day. I was obsessed with lasers in primary school, and they were just like they felt so futuristic when you were young, and like I don't know, lasers were just like the coolest thing, and you could just annoy the hell out of adults by like shining it onto tall buildings and stuff. And yeah, they also had some like keychains and things by some local creators, and that's cool. Dinosaurs, I really like dinosaurs as a kid. That's crazy. And yeah, one of these like hair growing things. Okay, this is crazy because I remember these like fake insect and creepy crawlies in the exact same packaging, and they're still in there. And I remember these magnet kits, and I remember having them as well. This is crazy. Honestly, this place is so awesome if you're like a millennial and you recall these things from your youth. You should definitely come to the science center and check it out. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like even half of the staff working here has worked here for the last 30 years. And there's a charm to it. So outside, there's like a huge playground area. And it was very hot, honestly. This was such a hot day. It wasn't the easiest to get to. I had to take a train and then a bus to get here. And I wouldn't say it's like the easiest place to get to, but definitely worth it for honestly a whole afternoon of entertainment. I would highly suggest coming here before the place closed down. And this is another sad thing. I remember there was this very cool McDonald's here that had displays of like all the toys throughout the years. I think it closed down like 5 years ago. I did see online it closed down like 5 years ago, and a lot of people are really sad. But there is a cafe here with like reasonably priced food and drinks. But that McDonald's was so iconic. I think it's because all of us went to it as a child, and it was the coolest McDonald's because it had like all these display with loads of all the toys from, the 80s, the 90s and things like that. But yeah, there you go. That's the Science Center, Singapore. Highly recommend it before it closes down. This is a one of those robotic things that serves you drinks. Again, fitting in with the science theme. I think this was like part of the Mac Cafe or something, but yeah. So I don't know. Would you come to the Science Center now that you've seen it? If you don't get a chance, at least there's this video. Honestly, I feel like I would come back again before it closes down. I haven't been here at least 30 years or something. Okay, not 30 years, maybe 25 years. And I'm not that old, maybe 25 years. But now that I've been here, I would love to come again. So I hope this video was useful to you. If you're not going to come here, now you've seen it. And I hope you get the chance to experience it one last time before it closes down as well. If you like this video, like and subscribe and ring the notification button so you get to see the next videos. Like I said, I'm going to explore more places in Singapore and hopefully bring you along. And eventually when I go on my travels as well. So I'm planning to try to go to all the museums in Singapore. I feel like that's very optimistic, but at least to the most of the main ones, especially some of the obscure ones. And hope to see you in the next one. So thanks for watching this very, very long video, and hope to see you in the next one. Bye!